topic 11, we are looking at rate of change or slope, initial value or y-intercept, and functions or equations. Okay, so before we start the first question, I'm going to look at rate of change or slope. On a graph, we have two graphs here. The rate of change or the slope means how fast something is changing. That's what rate of change means, how fast something is changing. So for example, this line here, we could be talking about speed, the speed of a car. The speed of this car, for example, the slope is 1. Okay, the speed is 1. It might be 1 kilometers per second. But for this graph here, you can see the line is steeper. It's harder to walk up this line because it's steeper. It's going more vertical. So the rate of change or the slope here is 3, for example. It's a bigger rate of change. It's faster. It's moving faster. Okay, so the slope here is bigger than this one. Okay, so here the slope is 1. Here the slope is 3 because it's going faster. Okay, so how do we find the rate of change on a graph? So the first few questions we're looking at are graph questions. So what do we have to do? First, we have to pick 2 points. We always find the rate of change or the slope from 2 points. So on my graph here, I have 2 points, this one and this one. Okay. Now, there's different ways of remembering how to find the rate of change. If your teacher was Mr. Simon in term 2, he taught you this formula, rise over run. The rise being how much is going up, how much it rises, and the run being how far it's going along this way, in the x direction. Okay, that's the run. Now if I taught you in term 2, this is the same as the change in y over change in x. This is exactly the same as rise over run. If you look at the rise is in the y-axis. It's in the y direction. Okay, so the rise is change in y. And if we're looking at the run is in the x direction. How much it changes in the x, change in x. So we are finding the change in y over the change in x. So let's write down our 2 points. I have 2 points here. I'm going to pick the point at the top just because it's easier. It doesn't matter which point you pick first, but usually it's easier to pick the point that's higher at the top. Okay, so here we have 0.86, and the other point is 4.5. So 4.5. Okay, so the first thing I want is the change in y. So this is my x, this is my y. I want the change in y. Okay, so I'm going to do 6 minus 5, that's 1, over, now I want the change in x. This is my x, so 8 minus 4 is 4. So my slope or my rate of change is 1 over 4. Or if we divide this, 1 divided by 4 is the same as 0.25. Okay, so this is my answer for the rate of change. So again, the change in y, 6 minus 5, 1, over change in x, 8 minus 4, 4 over 4, 1 over 4. So That's how you find the rate of change or the slope. The next one is asking for the y-intercept. This is my y line, my y-axis. The y-intercept is where our graph hits the y line. And this number here is 4. So the y-intercept is 4. Now the last thing, we are going to write the function for this graph. Okay, so we're going to start with y equals. Now we are looking at our rate of change. We got, let's use this one, 1 over 4. So y equals 1 over 4x, and the y-intercept here was plus 4. So y equals 1 over 4x plus 4, and that's our function. Or if you wanted to use this as the rate of change, it's also okay. Y equals 0.25x plus 4. Okay, so remember, this number here is the slope or the rate of change, and this number here is the y-intercept, where it hits the y-axis. So that's our equation, our function. Y equals 1 over 4x plus 4. Okay, let's do the other ones. Let's try to do it a bit quicker. So we are finding the slope. First thing we have to do, pick 2 points. Let's pick the points here. So this point here, the point at the top is 2, 3. And this point here, 0, 1. Okay, change in y first. 3 minus 1 is 2 over 2 minus 0 is 2. 2 divided by 2, or 2 over 2, is the same as 1. So our slope is 1. So writing our equation, y equals 1x. Now the y-intercept, where does this line hit the y-axis? Here, at 1. So y equals 1x plus 1. Y equals 1x plus 1. Or y equals x plus 1. This is the same as 1x. Y equals x plus 1. Okay, question number 3. Rate of change. Again, we pick 2 points. This point here, 0, 3. And this point here. So remember, we always read the x value first. 3, and then the y, 1. 3, 1. Change in y first. 3 minus 1, 2. 0 minus 3, minus 3. Now we can see our rate of change is a minus answer. The answer is a minus. And that is because our line is going down. Okay, if you look before, the lines are always going up. So our slope is positive. Our rate of change is positive. But now the line is going down, because remember, in English you start from the left. So if we're starting here on the line, we're going down. So our slope or our rate of change is going to be minus. Okay, so minus 2 over 3. If we do 2 divided by minus 3, we get minus 0.666. I don't like this number, so I'm just going to keep this as my answer. So y equals minus 2 over 3x. Now our y-intercept, this is our y, hits the line here, 3. The y-intercept is plus 3. So y equals minus 2 over 3x plus 3. Excuse me. Okay. Question 4, slope. Again, we have to pick 2 points. Now on this graph, they don't give us the points, so we have to pick the points. It can be any 2 points. So I'm going to pick this point here to 8. And I'm going to pick another point. Be careful when you pick a point, don't pick one that's in the middle of a number. There's no number here. So just be careful, always pick a point that's on the crosses of the graph, okay, on these squares here. So I'm going to pick this point here. This point is 0, 4. So I've picked 2 points. Now I'm going to do change in y. 8 minus 4 equals 4 over 2 minus 0 is 2. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So our slope is 2. So the equation starts with y equals 2x. Now the y-intercept, it hits the y-axis at this point here, at 4. The y-intercept is plus 4. So y equals 2x plus 4. Okay. Last question for the graphs. Again, it's asking for slope. We pick 2 points. I'm going to pick this point, 0, 2. And this point here, 1, 0. Change in y. 2 minus 0 equals 2. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. 2 divided by minus 1 is minus 2. Okay, so our slope or rate of change is minus 2. So our function starts with y equals minus 2x. Okay. Now our y-intercept, this is my y-axis, and it's hitting the line here at 2. Y-intercept is 2. So our function is y equals minus 2x plus 2.